I think going in with two things in mind. One is knowing your anchors. So what are the things that help you feel connected to your goals no matter where you are?
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's a reason that I always travel with protein powder. I'm like, no matter where I am, I can, have my protein shake in the morning and already make progress towards my protein goals for the day. Simple example, but that's an anchor in my life.
Okay.
And so I would encourage any client to say, what are your anchors on those days? What are the things that are part of your routine you can bring with you when you're in a new environment?
I
And
like
then
that.
the second thing is just having guidelines for yourself, not rules, but guidelines. So if you're going to Thanksgiving dinner or something, go in there with a specific intention. Like, for example, it could be the first thing I'm going to put on my plate is turkey. Because then you leave maybe less space for other things and you're prioritizing protein. Or it could even be, for some people, this is more relevant than others, but I'm going to go in with the intention of having 2 drinks. But then you set that intention, that's your guideline, and you try to stay within that, right?
Guess what, guys? I'm not a doctor. So if you're going to be making any major medical decisions, please consult your doctor. That includes diets, exercise, medications, and surgery. I love you guys, and be careful and consult your doctor.
Welcome back, our Sleeve Life podcast. I am your host, Mel, and today is going to be fun because we have an actual sister-brother duo that are helping people with sustainable living. Like, they want to help you make sure you know the ins and outs of how to really just take care of yourself so you can live longevity. And they are the people that are behind the Truth Body System. So I want to welcome on, I have Parris and I have Courtney. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me.
Thanks for having us, Mel. It's such a treat to be here and to be speaking to an audience that we know is like super engaged and ready to make some really positive changes in their lives.
Yes, agreed.
Also really excited to be here. I'll second that. Love what you guys do and love the community you've built. So huge props for that. So yeah, we're grateful to be on.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for taking the time out. So let's get into it. So how did this even begin? How did Truth Body Systems become what it is today? And the fact that you two work together, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a little bit atypical since we're siblings. Some siblings cannot do business together,
Right.
But Courtney and I are pretty on the same page with the vision, which has been awesome. So yeah, I mean, scrolling way back even a decade ago is when I actually started coaching. So my journey started as an insecure kid. I essentially saw a photo of myself, was really, really dissatisfied with that, and then I got started with my dad's workout DVDs in the basement. For people listening that might have tried like P90X or something like that,
Or Tybo.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, we
like
had
all
those
that
too.
stuff with the cassette tape or whatever. So that's where I started, and from the first time I did like that push-up DVD on P90X, I got hooked, and I just started trying to learn as much as possible, and then that later led me to want to also help other people. So I started coaching friends and family, and then eventually Courtney actually introduced me to some gym owners, and that's where I started my first training job as a personal trainer, as well as like doing boot camps way back in the day. So that was where it all started. We can kind of fast forward a few years. Obviously, during my kinesiology degree, I was coaching in and out of that. And then in 2019, we kind of more officially launched our online coaching business, which is called Truth Body Systems. And as you said, we help people get in really great shape in a sustainable way. So we primarily focus on very comprehensive one-on-one body transformation. So that's kind of, that is like the general synopsis if I were to kind of like give you a kind of bird's eye view of how we started.
Oh, I love it. We kind of skipped over this for a second. What degree do you have?
So I have a kinesiology degree with a minor in business administration, and I also have a pharmaceutical accreditation, and then obviously the nutrition and training certifications.
That's amazing. So what does that first degree, is that really helpful for like the body and like how it's all set together?
Yeah, so I think it really gives you a good understanding of physiology and like how the body works, anatomy, all that good stuff. But I wouldn't say it necessarily really helped with the coaching because I learned all that kind of from other coaches and from buying other kind of literature, I would say, that's more specific to body composition, because kinesiology degree gives you really like sciencey view on things, but it's not as practical. And when you're working with people, a lot of coaching is communication, but it's understanding also how to make things practical for the person and actionable. And sometimes the theory just really doesn't give you that. So I say I learned a lot from like good mentors and like, I guess, reading other more specific literature, in addition to just coaching hundreds of people. Eventually you just have a large enough sample size, you start to have some pattern recognition behind that. And I would say, Courtney is somebody that's, and speaking of pattern recognition, she's really strong at that, I would say. And she's been kind of like a huge asset in the business from day one, obviously introducing me to my first personal training job, but she was helping me throughout the whole kind of journey up until I took it on full time, and then she ended up taking it on full time as well. So she stepped into a much larger role where she also coaches, and she also does all our social media stuff. So and business development. She's amazing. So I'll let her kind of speak to maybe her history as well, and how she kind of fell in love with fitness and coaching, and kind of bridge that gap. Kind of, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I would love to know. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it starts in a similar place as Parris's journey, obviously being siblings. Like, we were doing those P90X DVDs together in the basement for a while, right? And yeah, when I think back to it, I think that was really the initial conception of all this. But then, Parris, when he was like 17, I'm his older sister, which is the funny part, because like he's been a role model to me in the fitness space, but yet he's my younger brother. So people are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great to be able to look up to your younger sibling."
Oh,
but
100.
Yeah, so it's awesome, and I know you have a brother yourself, Mel, so you know what it's like to have the sibling dynamic. But when he was 17, he said to me, he said, "Court, this is what I want to do." We were actually out on a walk. And Parris said to me, "This is what I want to do." He's like, "I love this. I love, the sense of self that even at 17, he was so self-aware of like the role that fitness was playing in his life. And he said, "I want to help other people do this too. I want them to go on this self-development journey. I want to share this passion." And I said, all right, you're going to do it. Right. And so that was kind of the first domino that fell. And he was writing, when I was in university, he was writing my gym programs. I started going to the gym. I was kind of, struggling with finding myself a little bit, I think, in those years. And so fitness became that thing that I did as an investment in myself. And I was trying to learn about nutrition. And, it came from a place of insecurity to start. But then I think you start to turn that insecurity, the more invested you get, the more involved, the more you just practice and you look to learn, you actually turn that insecurity into a source of confidence. And it all just comes from, like Parris was saying, it's the real world experience of like doing the thing, more so than just the reading and the education and all that. And my university degree is in political science. It's very different.
That is so
very different. And then, so different. So I didn't study the biology in that formal sense. And then when I graduated, I went and worked in advertising and marketing for a decade. So again, very different.
Very different. Yeah. Yeah. So I love it because, not to cut you off, but like I also have my bachelor's in business, like accounting, and minor in communication. So it's like, I don't even do what mine is either. Like I do it now like a little bit because of the communications and like the marketing behind it. But like I was supposed to be a CPA. Like,
wow. But I think we take skills,
you
right?
Never
like
know.
We take skills out of those disciplines, and I think that's what matters, right? Like I'm sure, Mel, you find like some of the skills you learn, it's not about just the number crunching, but it's helping you run a really successful business now, right?
Exactly.
So we take it.
Every win, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So and then fast forwarding again to 2019 when Parris was like, "Let's launch the online business." He asked me and actually my partner and a few friends of ours if we'd do like a photo shoot, and so he coached me through that. And I, got photo shoot lean and we were ready and we had a blast. And I had this very revelatory moment of being like, oh my God, I've never felt so in control of my own life. And that I don't mean like controlling, like nitpicky. I just mean that sense of I can do things and see the outcome of my actions.
Yeah.
And that opened my eyes to the possibilities of, like Parris went through his own revelation, just helping others do that. And I'm a foodie. So I was like, I got to keep my love of food at the heart of all of it. And I'm sure we'll get to that later. But it kind of encouraged me to get involved with, Parris's business more, and then, do all of my own certifications. So I was accredited enough to work with other people, just start learning through helping others. And here we are today. It's been a year since I left my full-time job to do this with him full-time, and it's been a blast.
Oh, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what made it go from not online to like now we're doing full coaching online? Like what revelation did you have to do that, Parris?
Like when we went full-time online?
Yeah.
So I think I always knew, because I had a couple of good online coaches myself, I knew that people in person they just don't get the same results. Because in person, you might be able to show up and have a good workout maybe 2-3 times a week, but we're not talking about the psychology. We're not talking about lifestyle management and setting up systems in your life. And we're not talking about nutrition to the degree that we need to. And you're missing a lot of things. You can control 1 hour of somebody's day 3 times a week and have a great workout. But then apart from that, like, there's so many other boxes that are just going unchecked. So what I was finding is there's a huge gap, and people just weren't seeing the same progress that they could if they had the extra accountability and extra kind of insights, and I guess data collection with other variables that really matter when you're trying to get in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel that, because I've had personal trainers before, like in the gym, right? They never asked me anything outside of the gym. Like, you know, what were my habits? What was my nutrition? They didn't even really check, like, what's a protein goal? What's a water goal? Like, and this is like in the 2010 to like 2016 time frame, because I had surgery 2015. So, yeah, when I would try, it's like they weren't even giving me anything, and they weren't even checking on me. Like, I think that's like a huge difference, because I know with you guys and the Truth Body systems, like, you guys are communicating all the time.
Yeah,
and I think that's like that comprehensive, in-depth look into the person was what is missing. And not to, you know, talk badly about in-person trainers, but a lot of them don't really care that much about like the client success. They're just there for the hour and clock out, and they're not the business owner. Whereas for us, it's like, this is our bread and butter, and this is what we do all day long. And like, we need to get people amazing results, which means that we need to do the things with them that get them great results, right? Because that's our whole brand is body transformation. So we have to be damn good at that.
Yeah,
so
you do.
We have to look at the things that matter to achieve that and help people do that. Again, what we do in a sustainable way. We don't just crash diet people. That's not how we do things over here. But like, we still need to produce epic results for our clients if we want to continue doing business, which obviously we do.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions, is that, like, people are going to ask, what are you putting people on? Because they are very scared of crash diets and these pouch resets for the world that I'm in. I got an email literally 2 days ago being like, I loved your episode about regain, but what about a pouch reset? And I'm like, please do not do a pouch reset. And if you two don't know what a pouch reset is, that is where they go back to doing a liquid diet for 2 weeks.
That's insane.
Because in their head, they believe that that's going to shrink their stomach back to what it was, but that's not why we did that. So, guys, it's called the liver shrinking diet. It's an LSD for your liver. It has nothing to do with your stomach size. So when I get these emails, I'm like, do not do that. Like, that is, be healthy about it. And now I can send them to you. So let's talk about more, like, how do you guys handle stuff like this?
For sure.
Yeah. Do you want me to continue going, Court? Or you?
Yeah, you go for it, and then I'll jump in. Yeah.
So we take a flexible but quantified approach surrounding, we'll talk nutrition specifically here. So we like to educate our clients around, you know, calories, macronutrients, the role those play in the body, and we set quantified targets for that. So some people it's just a protein in a calorie range. Some people it's just a protein in a calorie range. Other people it's macronutrient ranges, depending on the type of clients. And then we teach them how exactly to hit those targets based on everything that we know about them, as well as their lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. So we focus on really what matters with nutrition, and we remove all the fluff, and we take a flexible but quantified approach so that we always know if something's working or it's not working, and if we need to make adjustments. And I think when people put these labels on certain diets, like, we don't have a label on what diet we use because everybody is a little bit different, but we like to more take an approach of, okay, what are the principles of nutrition? How do we set that for the person based on everything we know about them, and then adapt it over time as their body changes? Because maybe the targets that you start with at the beginning, as you know, throughout your fat loss journey, for example, like, they're going to change over time. And you know, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong, but like, when do we need to make those adjustments? Like, you need a kind of a trained eye to know as well, and where to start those initial targets. Courtney, do you want to kind of piggyback on that?
Yeah, I think it's actually really hard to sometimes, I find myself struggling sometimes to explain to people exactly what we do until we work with them. And I think Parris actually did such a good job of doing that, because the challenge is that people want something that has a name, or this is what you got to do. Right. But a lot of that flexible, quantifiable approach that we take is actually skill building. It's just rooted in skill building. So when you start to talk to somebody about what it looks like to track their calorie intake, or what it looks like to hit their protein goals, it opens up a conversation of like, how are you going about your day to day in a way that supports those goals? And that's really what we focus on. So it's not just like looking at a sheet and being like, okay, somebody had this calorie intake today, cool, they're in check. It's like, okay, let's actually dive into that and say, how did you get there? How did you divide your meals across the day in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle? Because somebody who is like a shift worker, very different meal structure required for them than somebody who works 9 to 5, or somebody who has kids or doesn't have kids, those sorts of things, right? So what we're really looking at is like the quantification and the food tracking and logging becomes almost like a way to open up a deeper conversation about how are we actually achieving those numbers, whether that's specific food selection, whether that's number of times you're eating over the course of a day. And all of that is where it becomes the most client-centric, because it is so different from one person to the next.
Oh, I like it. So you guys go deep.
Oh,
Yeah, we do. We like to think so. Some of our clients might actually like open up like one of my, check-in videos that I send them back, and they'd be like, "How many minutes is this?" Right? Because we like to go deep, right? We like to go deep, but we also like to keep it actionable. So at the end of it, it is about, hey, here's what we do with this information, right? So we like to go deep in the insights and the analysis on our side, but at the end of the day, give a client an action plan that comes out of that.
Well, I think that's important because I know it's with my audience, we love to know why.
Mm-hmm.
If you can give us all the reasons why, then now we're like, oh, this makes sense. This is why I should be doing these things. Because as a kid and even getting older in my 20s, it was a lot of like, just do it.
Right.
Right. It was never like, because this will actually help you with memory, or this will actually help you sleep better at nighttime. Like they would just be like, no, because I told you to, or like, because I'm the boss, and be like, wait, there's got to be more to this.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good point. And I think your coach should be able to answer that question. Like, for example, I had a new client start a few weeks ago, and he's like, okay, why is my protein in this range? He wasn't saying that like it shouldn't be, but he just has a question. And like, I need to be able to explain that because that's my job, right? When we set these targets. But I think kind of tying it into that sustainability factor, and I know, Mel, we talked to you about this before, is like, we also want to show people what to do when they're in a different environment as well, right? Like when you go out for dinner, or, okay, you want to go have a drink with your coworker, or you're on vacation, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, what do we do in those situations? And the problem is when we have this specific diet like that has a name on it, all of a sudden when we're outside of our typical routine, we're like, what do we do now? I don't know. Like I'm on keto, but like I'm going to have bread and stuff at the dinner table. Like what do I do?
Yeah, try
like,
doing keto at an Italian restaurant, right? Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or you're going to Italy and you're like, okay, what do I do, right? So it's like we're oftentimes talking about the strategies on how to handle these out of routine events with our clients and out of routine scenarios, so that we can help build the skills, so you have tools in your toolbox, so no matter what's going on, you know still how to execute in a way where you're still moving forward with your goals.
I love that because we get that a lot of like, what do I do now?
And if I may jump into, I think people are often afraid of like doing something like going out to dinner and like quote unquote ruining their progress or, but I actually think embracing those moments is where it can be the most productive, because if you don't have the practice, you can't build the skill.
Right.
And it's inevitable that at some point in time, let's hope you're going to want to go on vacation. You're going to want to go out to dinner with friends. Like you're going to want to do those things. And that's where I think we focus so much on the fitness lifestyle side of things. It's like, yes, we can get you in good shape, but it's meant to be a way that enhances your lifestyle. And so not being afraid to have those moments that are out of routine. Like, okay, we don't want to often make them every single day, maybe.
Right.
We still love routine. Parris especially loves routine, right? Like that structure is so, so, so important. But embracing the moments that throw you out of routine as a learning opportunity, as a way to practice, and as a way to eventually build the skill that is critical for your long-term success.
When I would agree, because there's no way of knowing how you're going to react until you immerse yourself into a new situation like that. And there's going to be birthdays, right? We know this. There's certain things that are staples throughout the year that we're just going to have to deal with. And we're rolling right into those right now, guys. So like when this airs, Thanksgiving is a week later. Christmas is rolling around the corner and now what does that mean, right? We have a ton of invites. We are going to all different houses, different parties, like places that we've never been to before. So now that we are in that kind of situation, what would you say to someone that is going to these things?
Ooh, that's such a good question, Mel. I think it really depends on the person. But Parris, do you have an answer before I
No,
Go
you
ahead.
start.
I
Go
got
for it.
excited.
Yeah.
I think it first of all depends on the person,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
It's, if it's somebody who's done that before and been in those environments before while working on their fitness journey, might look a little bit different than somebody who's doing it for the first time. But I think one of the things Parris and I talk a lot about is kind of like, I think going in with two things in mind. One is knowing your anchors. So what are the things that help you feel connected to your goals no matter where you are?
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's a reason that I always travel with protein powder. I'm like, no matter where I am, I can, have my protein shake in the morning and already make progress towards my protein goals for the day. Simple example, but that's an anchor in my life.
Okay.
And so I would encourage any client to say, what are your anchors on those days? What are the things that are part of your routine you can bring with you when you're in a new environment?
I like
And then
that.
the second thing is just having guidelines for yourself, not rules, but guidelines. So if you're going to Thanksgiving dinner or something, go in there with a specific intention. Like, for example, it could be the first thing I'm going to put on my plate is turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you leave maybe less space for other things and you're prioritizing protein. Or it could even be, for some people, this is more relevant than others, but I'm going to go in with the intention of having 2 drinks. But then you set that intention, that's your guideline, and you try to stay within that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, yeah, anchors and guidelines is what it would come down to. And that's going to be individualized for the person.
I like that. I've never heard of anchors and guidelines, so that will be new for me, and I will use it because before you start, Parris, I do the protein thing that you do. I don't do well. I'll start doing powder now, but I was doing the Fairlife Core.
That's perfect.
The 26 grams. They are, but they are part of the list that has microplastics in them. So my kid sent me a bunch of articles and was like, stop drinking this. Cause I was I'd have one a day. And when I would travel, I would literally, cause I check my bag, I would check how many days I'm there. I had that many in my case before. Like I've had up to like 8 before.
That's
And it's
preparation.
because I felt better knowing that they were there. Like I woke up being like, I at least have this. Like, I don't know what's going to unfold, but like I at least have 26 grams of protein and I started my day out with that. So I am now, I'm now using Momentum Shake and I'm using Devotion. So they are very polar opposites. One is, so Devotion's more thick. It's more for baking and cooking with.
Okay.
And then Momentum is thin. So it's like, it's very quick. You can take literally put it in water if you want to. And it goes down quick and you're good to go. And his stuff is, I've had him on the podcast. His stuff is so clean. It's insane.
That's awesome.
But it is a little more expensive because of how clean it is, but it does make you feel somewhat, I don't know. It's like you wake up and you're like, oh, you feel so secure in your day knowing that they're there. So I recommend anchor points, anchoring yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like you found some good anchors for yourself, Mel, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another example could be if somebody does a walk at lunch every day, it's like, okay, even if you're off work for the couple weeks around holidays or whatever, it's like still keeping those things. That's another example of like an anchor point. Or if like you have a specific bedtime you usually go to bed at, it's like, okay, that's another anchor point, right? So all these things are important. But I think one of the main mindsets I like to focus on with clients, I'll add another two. The first one in this season is like really focusing on the people and the conversations and the experience rather than just the food and drinks. Because sometimes we glorify the eating and the drinking when in reality we're actually there for the people. And hopefully you like the people that are at the events, right?
Right.
So that's like the first one is making it about the conversations, people, and experiences rather than just the indulgences. And I think the second one is also understanding that these days, it's not like let's say Christmas, for example, it's not all of December. You might have like 3 to 4 maybe dinners or something. So some people like to completely just say, oh, December, that's Christmas, the whole thing's a wash. I'm not going to make any progress. So it's like, hold on a second. Let's plan ahead and strategize for these 4 or 5 days. The rest of it, we can absolutely crush it. There's nothing holding us back from doing that. So it's a little bit of a mindset reframe.
I would agree because with that flip, if you actually think about it that way, then you treat every other day like a regular routine day.
Yes.
And you can't, and also those 4 or 5 days, like just do what you're going to do. And then the next day you go right back in, because I've watched and read lots of statistics on November and December, and we gain a lot of our weight in November, December, and then we're chasing all year to take it off, and then we do it right back again November, December. So I actually 2 years ago started working out in November because I was like, you know what? I'm not waiting to January. This is not happening. I just need to get my ass in there. And that was a lifesaver because I was able to lose a little bit and not gain anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that month of December, I ate, some of the chocolates and the desserts that are around, but I didn't gain. I at least maintained. So that was the deal, is like, don't lose your progress that you've worked 10 months for.
Yeah.
And just for 2 months, it's like, and it's really 5 or 6 dinners.
Yeah.
Like, really look at your calendar, and because you know when it's coming. So plan. I'm a big planner. I'm a big, I promote it all the time. Like, you want future you to be really happy with past you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to actually protect yourself. Hence why we bring protein with us. The one tip I have for people that go into these like days is, when you're at a potluck, like say for Thanksgiving or Christmas, bring something that you like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then again, you're going to eat something that's, 1, delicious, and 2, that's high in protein or whatever the case is. Because, moms and uncles and aunts, they bring random shit. Sometimes it tastes good. Sometimes it doesn't taste good. You just can't guarantee stuff. So you're like, I can guarantee. Because us foodies are like, it better taste good. Because that's the new thing for us. We have small tummies. So we're like, what we're putting in, it better taste good. And we are not skimping by any means.
Right. You want to be selective.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge point of it too, is like picking what actually matters to you. Like, so for example, I'm not somebody who actually has a huge sweet tooth. I feel very lucky for that, because it makes things a little easier sometimes. But so for me, if I'm going to pick something that I really want to go all in on, it's probably like mashed potatoes. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yep.
So I will choose, that's my thing. But if you are somebody who really, really loves sweets, like maybe you're picking the 1 or 2 items that actually have the most meaning to you. And I think being selective comes from this element of self-awareness of what matters to you. Like, maybe not every single dessert that the aunts and uncles brings is something that appeals to you. So you are under no obligation to have every single one of those. You pick the one that you find the most valuable or meaningful to you, whether that's because it's a tradition, whether that's because, I don't know, your favorite aunt or uncle made it, or whether it's because that's the thing that genuinely looks most satisfying to you. But like, it doesn't have to be everything or nothing. You can go in and say, what matters to me? What's going to be the most satisfying to me? And be selective.
I think that's important. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Did you?
those are most of. No, yeah, I was just gonna agree with that. The way, the way she phrases it is like choosing your indulgences. I think that's a great way to do it, right? It's like, okay, if you like that rum and Coke, it's like, okay, then that's your thing. But maybe you pass on the cake that you don't actually like. You're just eating because it's the holidays. It's like, okay, well, if you don't enjoy it, like let's indulge on things that we actually like.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely second that. Yeah.
Is there anything else you tell your clients? Like going through this?
Yeah, I think, Mel, you brought up something really important, which was this idea of like bringing something that you're going to want to eat or fits your goals. So there's always something accessible to you. And it just reminded me of this idea of like, there's certain things when we are in different environments that aren't part of our routine, there are certain things that we can't control.
Right.
We can't control who brings what to the potluck, but there are elements within that environment that we can control. And so I think acknowledging what those things are and at least maximizing the element of control that you have does matter, right? And it goes back to just like avoiding that all or nothing thinking. So for example, you can't control what everyone else brings. You can't control, what's in those dishes that they make, but you can control which ones go on your plate and how much of each.
Yep.
Right. And so I think going in and just not making it a write-off, the same way Parris spoke about how it's not like December is an entire write-off. Well, certain occasions also aren't an entire write-off. You can still make decisions. Like, you are still an autonomous human being that is able to execute certain aspects of control within those environments. And so we talk with our clients a lot about, let's identify in this moment, what are the aspects we can control and how are we going to control them?
I like that.
And I think it's also being okay, being a little bit different. Like, if you want to be an outlier in terms of being in amazing shape when other people, maybe the average person is not in amazing shape, well, then you have to do things that are different than the other people around you potentially, right? So like, you don't need to fall under family pressures of, oh, why aren't you eating this? Or, oh, have another drink with me or whatever. It's like, if you want to, you can, as long as you understand the trade-offs and are okay with that. But it's like, you don't have to. You can make your own decisions and be okay being the outlier. I spent years of my life being the outlier with the way I live my life. But hey, that was my choice, and I'm very happy because that allowed me to make a ton of progress over time. When maybe those same people who were making fun of me for not eating with them or whatever are now like in a position where they might not be as happy with their progress potentially, right? So it's like, be sure of yourself, your decisions, you're in control. No matter what the environment is around you, you're still in the driver's seat. Nobody's going to force food literally down your throat. You can still make the decisions. And if you want to indulge in it, you can, if you understand the trade-off. But like, you don't have to just because everybody else is. Yeah.
I think,
I like
Mel,
that.
and for your audience, Mel, too, right? I think it is important. You know, everybody has a strong why when it comes to their fat loss journeys and what they've been through. Like even your story you shared with us off air and all these different things. Everybody has a story, right?
Yeah.
And so we can't default expectation that everybody automatically understands why our decisions are important to us. So we can do our best though to explain, hey, this is the decision I'm making because this, and this, right? And trying to help the people in your life understand to the best that you can why it's important to you. Some people will jump on board and support you. Some people might not, but you have to know what your why is so that you can try to communicate it the best you can, because you know, there's a reason that you make the food choices you make. There's a reason why, you know, it's all grounded in self-improvement and desire to live our best, healthiest lives. So that has a ton of meaning, and don't let somebody else take your why away from you.
Oh, I like that. I like that because a lot of us with our journey, we've been made fun of, we've been embarrassed, we've been shamed. So, and even from family and friends. So when now you go to dinners and you go to these functions, they're like, well, why aren't you eating? What's going on with you? And some of us have had, me included, have had some hostile situations. Some people have been where it's nothing. And I'm like, I love it for you. But,
Yeah, exactly.
But we have, when it comes to food, it's interesting. It's different, right? Like you understand why someone's not drinking. You understand why someone is like not smoking cigarettes or doing drugs, like, or gambling, right? These are the big addictions that people like don't even think about. They're like, yep, that's fine. No opinion. But when it comes to food, everybody and their mom and grandma wants to have an opinion. And I know from my family, a lot of it stemmed from the fact of like, they home make everything, right? So now if I don't eat something, they're like, what's wrong with my food?
Right.
What's in it that you're not allowed to eat, or what's wrong with, like, they really think it's like a personal attack. And it's like, actually, it's just, it doesn't fit in my food today.
Right.
Like sometimes if I would have planned better, I could have had all those mashed potatoes you made, or I could have the sweet potato casserole that you put like marshmallows and fucking sear it and all that shit that you do to it. Like I could handle it, but you know, like it's interesting because I went through a phase of, I don't want to have to explain to you, like, just let me eat what I want to eat. But now I will explain. I'll be like, well, here's the difference is that like, I want to focus on protein. So I'm going to get that turkey in. I'm going to get those little mini hot dogs in. Like I'm going for that first. And if I have, you know, a room for anything else later, I will. But let's not get on me the fact I'm not eating your food. It has nothing to do with you, actually. And that I've had to explain that a few times. It's because we're Irish and Italian, so it's a whole thing.
We're Greek, so
We get it.
Oh, you totally get it.
We get it.
Our dad remarried an Italian, so we're double.
Yes.
So we know it very well. But I will say, and that takes some kind of self-certainty and to like stand up for yourself in those moments and just be okay with it. And my friend Adam has a great saying. He says, I'm gonna do me and you do you. And I love that because like he loves the drinks, he loves the foods and everything. Love the guy. He's one of my best friends, and he knows I live a very regimented lifestyle because that's my choice. But we're best friends because we can both respect each other's choices. I don't care what he does, and he doesn't care what I do. We're buddies not because of what we eat or don't eat. We're buddies because of we get along and we love each other's company. So I think we need to start just taking our own actions and not judging each other for the decisions that we make, because ultimately that has nothing to do with the relationship between the two people.
No, and what I have seen, and I love this about people that are more vocal, is where I was actually at a dinner party and I said no to alcohol. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it, whatever. And then someone else, like, they offered and then they said no. And as I started kind of like, oh yeah, you can say no. Like people forget you don't have to take whatever anybody's offering or giving you. You can say no, thank you. You don't even have to give an explanation about it. And so you could be that anchor for someone else in the room that's too scared, too nervous to actually stand up for themselves. And so, because some of us will, and I've been this person where I've just taken it anyway and just kind of sat it.
Right.
You know, and then I'm not even touching it. So it's like, I did that just to please you, but it's like, why am I so wanting to people please? And it's because that's what we've been taught for such a long time, and realizing you can still people please without actually changing your guidelines or your anchors, as you guys say. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Parris, did you want to, we were both nodding along because we're like, yes, totally.
Yeah.
And I think you touched on something important too there, Mel, which is just seeing your opportunity to positively influence people, because Parris always tells me you never know who's watching, right?
You don't.
And in that moment, you set an example that made it kind of just broke the default, right? Like the default, like you're talking about, the default is we say yes, the default is we take this thing and we eat it or we don't eat it. But you can shift the default and then make somebody else pause and go, wait, do I actually want this?
Yeah.
And maybe they do, and that's great. But that pause makes them more certain.
There's power in the pause.
There's so much power in the pause. I think if we all paused a minute, all of our subsequent actions would probably be much more aligned with where we actually want to go. Right?
Oh, 100%. I've made some irrational decisions before where I'm like, why didn't you just stop and think for a second, Melody?
We've all been there. Don't worry.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was a good point you said about the people pleasing. It's like we jump at any opportunity to please others, but we do that by putting ourselves to the side. It's like, shouldn't we be focused on like also, satisfying our own needs for our own goals? It's like, why do we put people above that? And when you go to bed at night or you wake up the next morning, are you going to be happy that you made decisions that served you, or are you going to be mad at yourself that you made decisions that maybe served other people, or you thought that they served other people in the moment, when in reality, nobody's going to remember if you freaking had the cake next year. Like, who cares, Nobody's going to remember. So just like, if you want it, great. Understand trade-offs. If you don't want it, don't have it.
Yeah, and we also we overestimate sometimes too how much other people care about our actions.
Yes.
Right? Like there are moments when, somebody does say, "Why aren't you eating the food I made? I put all my love into it," right? And you're like, "Well, okay, this is a little different." But there are other moments where we think that our actions actually mean more to somebody than they do. Right? Yeah. Like if somebody, offered you this glass of wine and you're like, "No, I'm good, thanks. I don't feel like it today." We're not going to, we shouldn't go to bed at night being like, wow, I wonder if they were really impacted by that or not. Because chances are they weren't. They just moved to the next person and poured their glass, right? So we totally give more emphasis to our own actions. And that's just part of being human. Like our worlds are literally in our brains. Like we perceive everything around ourselves, and that's just how we're wired. But I think it's important to actually recognize that and be like, what's actually important to that person? And there are instances where serving others is so powerful and great. And of course we want to be helping each other out and taking care of each other. But a lot of the things we're talking about here aren't taking care of that person. They're really just sacrificing or compromising on our own needs.
Agreed. Yeah. And that's the one thing I just want people to take away from this is like, you don't have to serve others. You can actually serve yourself and have people surround yourself with people that want you to succeed. And I think that's what I think is so powerful about coaching is the fact is you actually have someone right there willing and ready to help, right? Like you can, I'm sure you two have given out your cell phone numbers and been like, text me if you need anything. If you're at a grocery store and you're frantic, message me. That's what we need. We need every day-to-day coach, because I say this all the time, how do you think the athletes do it? Because they have so many coaches around them and they have so many people that are like-minded around them to keep them going. So it's we need the same, just as I call us normies, and us normies need the same love too.
Absolutely.
And we need to take care of ourselves. So it's we need to start thinking of our money a little different. And I'm kind of on this intent with money journey right now. And I think we need to be way more intentional where our money goes. Because I just canceled lots of apps that I did not need. I just went through a cleaning house of just getting rid of shit that does not serve me. And I think there's two things that I've learned in this process. One, we need to be more intentful with our money. So like, and that goes into you. So if you need to actually pay for coaching, pay for fucking coaching. If you need to get your gut health in check, or you need your hormones checked, but your doctors aren't helping you, there's people for that. Like we have experts. They're here to help you. Use your money instead of buying that new phone that none of us really needs, right? Like I'm still on the 15 because I'm like, guys, it's really not that different.
Oh yeah. No.
Like
the Mega Zoom, how much is the Mega Zoom really worth to you?
Exactly. Right? I would rather take my $1,000 that I'm paying over time and give it to something that's actually going to help me like stay healthy longer, because I'm in it for the long haul, right? And you guys are in it for the long haul. So that's why I'm speaking of, like, we need to be way more intentional with our money and where it actually goes, and stop with all the nonsense, because there's a lot out there we don't need. But what we do need is how do we live long? Well, you're going to have some coaches, and you're going to have some doctors and some people to help you along the way.
It's true. And Courtney knows I've invested a lot of money into mentorship and coaches, and she has as well. We both still have coaches.
We both
to this
have
day,
coaches of our own,
even fitness coaches to this day for a reason. And it's like, if no offense to people listening, but if we have coaches and we know this stuff inside out, and you don't, and you think you know it all, like, that should say something. And as you know, that classic saying, Michael Jordan had a coach for a reason, like all the best athletes do for a reason. It doesn't mean that you can't, like, we need to put our ego aside. And I think once I did that in my own fitness journey and hired people that could help me, that's when my progress really skyrocketed. Like I put my ego aside and I said, hey, I know a lot, but there's some missing things that I'm not seeing. And one of my mentors, great saying is, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes we think we know what we're doing, but we really don't. And that's where somebody can see. I mean, after we've done this hundreds of times, it's like, you think you're a special snowflake that we've seen it before, you know? Like, we know what you're going through. We've seen the same issues again and again and again. And it's like, so anyways, I could go on a long ramble.
There's the objectivity of it, right? There's the objectivity of, like, we live in our heads. And even if we have education and experience, we still live in our heads. And having someone else who can give you that guidance brings so much mental relief. I can't tell you, the second I handed my programming over to a coach, I was like, please take care of it. My results got so much better because there are things that he started implementing that I didn't think of before. There's also, like, he gave me permission to give myself grace when I needed it, but also gave me permission to push in other areas. You know, things just change because you're not making the decision for yourself. So you stop second guessing, you stop carrying that mental load, and you start alleviating all of that. And what it comes down to, when you talk about, like, intention with money, it's an investment. You're investing in self-improvement, learning, doing something new, objectivity, peace of mind. All that's an investment. Like, any coach who treats things like transactional probably is not in your corner for the long haul, right? Like, because this isn't something that has a price tag attached to it, or is like, cool, you pay me this, I'll give you that. That's not coaching. That's buying something, right? And so coaching is really about, like, an investment in that continued long-term development that can actually really give you more than it's really worth. You know?
Agreed.
And I think it's something I see, a trend with see that kind of ticks me off. And I, again, never naming any names ever, but there are a lot of people that they'll spend a lot of money on vacations. Like, I mean, a lot of money, and they'll give you a money objection, be like, oh, coaching's too expensive, whatever. But they stay out of shape for years. It's like, well, hold on a second. You spend all this money on vacation, but you know that you keep your shirt on at the pool. And I've been that guy when I was younger because I was insecure and didn't take my shirt off. But I made the investments, and I made the effort investment as well to get out of that insecurity. But it's like, imagine if you, next time you went on vacation, you actually felt great about yourself and enjoyed your vacation and wasn't worried about, oh, I overate the buffet and now I feel like even crap and I'm wearing my shirt at the pool. Like, is that a great vacation? You're just masking the experience that you could have. And same thing with, like, clothes. It's like, you will look amazing in a $10 t-shirt when you're in good shape. You'll look good in literally anything you wear, but people will buy a $3,000 t-shirt, but really they're just insecure about the way their body looks, and they're kind of trying to cover it up with something that's a luxury. But in reality, again, you could buy a bajillion t-shirts that you look fantastic in every single one when you're in good shape.
Well, and that's kind of the deal. Like, especially with my audience and myself, it's like, we've been that person, right? Like, I have been that person where I'm like, okay, I can't afford to the gym. I can't afford a coach. So I'm just going to work my butt off and hopefully it works. And I'm just going to go to concerts and I'm going to go to stand up, I'm going to feel very awkward because I'm overweight. I feel icky in my clothes. I feel I don't like the smaller seats, you know, like, and then being at festivals like that, I would just hide my insecurities by wearing clothes that were, you know, plain Jane, and I hated it. Or I would pay the extra. And then now it's like, why did I could have paid for something else to help me feel good in my clothes. Cause like, I couldn't tell you, I was so excited the first time I was able to shop at Volcom.
Oh my God, I love Volcom.
Oh my God. I was so excited. I was able to put on one of their pair of pants and it was a size 12. And I was like, oh my God, I can do this. Like, it was just crazy feeling. So it's like, it is a priceless feeling. That's where I was going to go with it, because it's like, you don't get that by paying for anything.
No, but it's like an investment that pays you back. You know how we talk about like dividends that you get when you're investing in stocks or whatever, like investing in fitness and coaching and all that is an investment that pays you back. And then you get to reinvest that. So like, think about how much more enjoyable that festival experience is when you've taken the investment you made in something else and now applied it there. Right.
Yep.
And like, that's the thing I think I love most about fitness is like, we don't talk with our clients just about, okay, how's your training this week and what's your nutrition looking like? It's like, what's going on in life and how is life benefiting, right? So when our clients share wins, we have a client who is a stand-up comedian, right? And a lot of her fitness journey is about learning how to present herself on stage in a way with confidence, right? Or like things like that. And it's taking these big wins from life that benefit from your fitness journey and taking charge of your fitness journey. And that investment really is priceless.
I love it.
I think people really neglect to realize that the insecurities they might have about their body are holding them back from everything in life. For example, like being a comedian, you want to feel like you're confident in your own skin, right? And I think a lot of people don't really think about that. Like, you're going to show up at work better. You're going to show up for your partner better. You're going to show up for your friends better. And even going back to like when I was younger and I avoided the pools or wore my t-shirt and like I wasn't really enjoying the times. Whereas now I go and I'm having a freaking amazing time wherever I go because I feel great and I'm confident in my body. But like, you have to earn that through the effort. And I think like it's so much more fun being in good shape, doing literally anything than when you're like trying to hide or be insecure, or you're wondering, oh, instead of enjoying the view that at this beautiful beach, you're wondering, I wonder if that person is looking at my love handles. It's like, they're probably not, but in your head, that's robbing you from experiencing life to the fullest.
Oh my goodness, all the tugging and pulling that I would do, getting in and out of a car, just walking around in general. Like, I wasted so much headspace on what I felt like and thinking other people could see it. And like, and then now what do they think, right? And I was talking on another podcast that's going to air soon. And I talk about how like, it's interesting now because I forget what I even look like anymore. Like, I don't even think about what I'm wearing, what I'm feeling inside. I'm like, I don't even think about it. Like, because I've done so much work that now I can actually have peace with my body, where I'm like, it's the second nature now. It's like, it's only if I'm cold or too hot. Like, that's the two. That's the two. But now I'm not scared of, oh, is my love handle showing? Are my arms a little too chubby? Whatever. I don't care anymore. It's like, no, we're not doing that to ourselves. And I think that's the biggest deal. Like, us going through this next couple of months is reminding ourselves, like, you're here for you. Like, you were put on this earth for you. You weren't here to people please, to help everybody else. Like, we're here to take care of ourselves and be good. Like, for me, I want to take care of myself so I can be good for others. Like, that is my main goal every single day. So however I have to do that, I'm going to do that. Like, I have a business coach, I have a therapist, I have a personal trainer. And it's like, I have these things because they're important. And I've learned over 10 years of, guys, I was 308 pounds. I've done B.Sc, I've done the GLP-1, and I feel good because like I've done the work. You don't wake up from surgery feeling this way. You don't wake up from taking a shot feeling this way. You have to earn it and you have to work it. And all we have technically is time. I know that time is limited, but we really have unlimited time to do this for ourselves. So take every day with as one day at a time, one meal at a time. That's just how I look at it and try to make sure other people do too. Cause like, we're really hard on ourselves.
We are. And there's an expression we use with our clients, which is like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah,
right?
we do too.
And so your audience is familiar with that concept, right? And I think it's just so relevant in this conversation as well. It's like, if we do want to serve others in whichever way that is, like if that's, you know, your family or the people you work with, or hey, your brother even, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
So you do have to fill your cup. And it's the reason why on airplanes they say put your own oxygen mask before helping someone else, right?
Yep.
It's because you have to be prepared to show up in the best way possible, and that starts with you.
Yeah.
That starts with you. So it's not selfish. It's in fact very selfless. Because then think about, you know, going back to that vacation analogy. Now think about if you're standing at that beach looking at the sunset with your partner, and you're really appreciating being there with them in that moment, instead of in your own head wondering about how you look and feel and if anyone's watching you. Think about what that does for your relationship, and how you then show up as a better partner for that person, right?
Yeah.
And so it does start with putting in the work. And you talked about time, Mel, right? Like, time is probably the biggest resource we have, because we'll never get it back. But when it comes to fitness journeys and effort, it can also be your biggest asset if you allow yourself to spend the time and take the time.
Yeah.
It can serve you super, super well.
If you're doing the right things.
If you're doing the right things.
If you're doing the right things, time compounds in such a magical way. And going back to what Courtney mentioned about, like, you know, standing there with your partner in two different scenarios, like, I live a very specific lifestyle of how I organize my day and the action items I take for my fitness journey. But my partner knows, like, she knows, in order for me to best show up in our relationship, like, I have to do those things for me. So, and if I'm not doing those things, I'm not going to show up as best as I can in the relationship. So it's almost like, if you bring your most confident self, and you know, you feel good about yourself, you will show up so much better to the people around you. It's unbelievable. And we work with a lot of parents, and a lot of parents will say, oh, well, you know, I sacrifice myself for my kids. It's like, first things first. That's, I think, the wrong mindset to go about it. It's like, your kids are watching you.
Yep.
And they're right now what you're doing. They're saying, oh, what's mom doing, or what's dad doing? And they're watching you decrease in health every year and not take care of yourself and treat your body like a garbage can, for lack of a better term. Do you think that they're not really taking those notes? And versus you showing up for yourself, being confident, being strong, focusing on your health, focusing on taking care of your mental health, all these things, you are the example. And you're leading them either in a positive direction or a negative direction. And it breaks my heart to see overweight kids, because I can only imagine how tough it is to start your life not even knowing, like, how you got here, but you're just like, well, I just realized that I'm very overweight and people are making fun of me. That is heartbreaking to me. And it's like, we have a responsibility as parents to teach our kids, but not only teach them, show them.
Like,
we need to step up. And I'm not a parent, but I will say I've worked with a lot of parents, and like, it's so powerful when you can lead by example for your kids, and the kids end up wanting to go to the gym with them, or, you know, wanting to go on the walks with them. And it's like so special and touching to see, you know? So.
Well, because you get quality time with them that you're never going to get back. So it's very, like you said, like, it's very important to structure your day a certain way, so that way you can be there for your family and your kids. And I will straight up say, like, that was the cool thing about me getting this done when Dylan was 9 years old, was that, like, his dad is a junk food junkie. And he's only 5'5", weighs like $150. That guy never can put on weight. Even right now at 42, he still cannot put on weight. It's insane. So, like, but poor Dylan has my genes. Anything he eats just fucking goes. And I'm just watching him. And I was like, as a little kid, I'm like, oh, we can't do this. Like, I was like, we gotta get the sodas away from him. We gotta do these things. And it was hard because Eric would show him that it's fine, right, to eat these things. But once I had surgery, and Eric's a great cook, so that also was hard, because he could cook delicious, hefty food, but also he did learn how to cook really healthy food. Right. And so
the skills apply, right? The skills apply.
Yeah, they still apply, and they worked. And Dylan, even, like, he came over last night to get his mail, and we were talking. He's like, Mom, I was working out a few times this week. He's like, I'm already down like 13 pounds in the whole month of October. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude, congratulations. Like, and he still says, like, he can hear me go, did you get your water? Did you get your protein? Because I've said it so much that he's like, I could hear you all the time. And I was like, good, that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted you to hear me. I was hoping I could transform over the Eric and all the junk food. And, you know, and he's doing pretty well. And it's like, they really do watch you, because I watched my parents and not, so here's the sad thing for one moment is like, I don't have any grandparents left. No one's alive. I only have my mom. My dad's gone, right? So, and then all of my aunts and uncles on my dad's side, there's only one left out of 9 guys. There's one left. She's the only one to get over 70. She's 72. So not one Austin has made it past 72.
Oh my God.
Which is insane, right? My dad died at 59. I watched him have a stroke. I've watched him have a heart attack in front of me. So we see it. We watch. I will not smoke a cigarette. I will not be a drinker. I will not have mayonnaise sandwiches. There is things that they have done to show me, do not do these things. Right. And yes, did it wreck them and their bodies? 100%. But unfortunately, like, it sucks that they had to do that and they're gone sooner, but at least for me and now my brothers and our family going on are like, we can't do this. This is obviously in our genes. We're very aware of it. And even my older brother and younger brother, they will not touch cigarettes. They're not heavy drinkers. Like, our problem has always been food. So now everybody, since I've started this journey, we're all working on like, how do we manage food? Because that's our vice. And I would rather manage food than have to deal with all the other stuff that they were dealing with. And I don't want any of you guys like that are listening having to watch your family members have a heart. Guys, it's scary. Like, it's not for the weak of heart. Like, watching your father drop to the ground is wild. Watching your father not know who you are when he's having a stroke, fucking crazy, right? And then I ended up watching him literally die in front of me, like having his last breath. So it's like, if you guys can go without seeing these things, I would love that for you. And if that means that you have to take time and money to take care of yourself, so be it, because your kids should not be watching that happen at 16, 18, 24, right? These things should not happen to you. So, and that's why I'm like I'm gonna crying a little bit. Yeah. That's why I'm very adamant about it, because it's like, we can do so much for ourselves and we don't even realize it. It's like, guys, we are role models, not just for our kids, but for people around us. And it's just so important for us to like take the time and go and do something that's going to help yourself. And that is the coaching. That is the therapy. That is going to the gym. That's going on the walks, you know? It's I just really want you guys to take care of yourselves.
And everyone in your life wants you.
That,
yeah. Sorry, Parris.
Yeah.
No, you go. I was just saying, thanks for sharing.
And it's so powerful to hear you talk about that lived experience, because I think we can talk about, take care of yourselves to help those around you. But when you have something so profoundly moving, like the story that you just shared, it really puts it into perspective,
right?
On why it's important for you to be able to, you want to be present in the lives of the people in your life. Like, you want to be around, right? You want to be around long enough to experience life with the people you care about. And you also want them in turn to have those experiences with you.
Yes.
Right? And to be able to just continue to live lives that support each other. And that depends on us being healthy and happy and supporting each other and taking care of ourselves and others in the process.
Yeah. And it's funny because any excuse that you can think of, do you think that's a good enough excuse to not have another 10 years of quality living with your kids? Like, for example, I'm too busy to get in shape, or I don't have time, or I don't have the money to invest. It's like, well, hold on a second. When you could have had 10 more years living an awesome life with your kids, like, is that excuse going to be valid enough? Probably not.
It won't.
Because that decade is like, man, imagine how much life and experience you can have with your loved ones, and like, to miss out on that is very, very sad.
It is, because like there's 2 grandkids that my dad will never meet. You know, my brother had 5 children. He married a woman that has 2, so there's 7. Wow. And he'll never meet the last 2, Josh and Natalie, unfortunately. And he'll never know Addie and JJ from the new marriage. It is just crazy. And I know if he knew he would have done so many things different. And
Yeah.
we have to remind people, like, you know, they did come from the era of depression. They came from these different eras and time frames of where health wasn't important. It was survive, you know?
Yeah.
And we are now in a new generation to where we can take care of ourselves.
Right. It's not a finger pointing game at all. It's a, hey, look at what we've learned, right?
Yeah.
Look at what we've learned. We are so privileged to be in today's society where we have education, we have research, we have science, we have the experience of those who've lived through this before us. We have the tools to open our eyes and say, wow, this is a privilege.
Yeah.
And it's not about, hey, they could have done it better. It's about how can we do it better now? Because we've seen it. We've witnessed what they've gone through. How do we make sure that we are taking advantage of the circumstances that we're in? Because we are so lucky. And I think one of the biggest things too, I'm kind of going back into the food side of things, is in that Depression era, like, you know, our parents were raised by our grandparents who lived through the Depression, and it was a scarcity lifestyle.
Yep.
It was, we have to take advantage of, like, finish the food on your plate, right?
Yes,
and
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, right. And now that's almost triggering because we do not live in that era anymore. We are in a very abundance based lifestyle. And, you know, I also want to recognize that there are people who have challenges, especially with cost of living right now. And for a lot of people right now, whatever food comes on their plate, it matters and it's important. So the fact that we have choice is a privilege. It is a very, very deep privilege to say we get to choose what we eat. But a lot of people still struggle. And we see this with a lot of our clients who are kind of like, you know, maybe 40s, 50s, kind of like age-wise. Their parents always told them, finish what's on your plate. And now they struggle with that because that's not the lifestyle they're living in. That's not the environment they're living in. And so I think recognizing where we're at today and what privileges we have to be able to make those choices. And like I said, not finger pointing at previous generations, it's acknowledging where we are now and what we can learn from them.
Yeah.
Agreed. So say if they people listen to us, they're like, all right, I'm on board. I want to do the Truth Body system. What does that entail? What does that look like? Where do they go? Well, who do they meet first? Like, what's going on?
Parris, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. So we have 3 different coaches on our team, myself, Coach Courtney, and then one of our previous client, who he's still a client, but he's been working with us forever now, several years. Eventually, we onboarded him as a coach as well, so Coach Steve. So that's our coaching team. So essentially, let's say, for example, you go to our website. That's a great way to reach us. You can send us a form through there, tell us a bit about yourself, and then you'll have a consultation call with one of the 3 of us. Or you can just shoot us a DM on Instagram, telling us where you came from, this podcast, and then we can book a consultation call with one of us there. And then on that consultation call, we'll dive a little bit more into your goals and really get to understand, okay, where have you been? Where are you at now? Where are you trying to go? And if we feel we're a good fit, then we can move forward with, with coaching as well. But that's kind of like the initial sequence of events. We all follow the same kind of systems in terms of how we coach. So it's not like with one coach, you're getting like a completely different service than the other. We're very kind of streamlined with our systems, hence the name Truth Body Systems.
Yeah.
So we have a very repeatable system for success. If you're curious if that system actually works, you can check out the transformations on our website. I think those will tell you most of the story. But yeah, Courtney, do you want to add?
I was just going to say, I think like it really comes down to, who's going to suit your style, right? Like each of us, we follow the same systems, but as you can even probably tell from listening to us, like we have different things that we get passionate about or different ways that we talk about the same concepts. So, that we'll just pick the coach who fits your needs best is kind of how we'll do it. But also we have a custom application form for anyone who listens to our Sleeve Life podcast, which Mel, you have access to. So, if you do want to share some of that with us, and you are a listener of this podcast, we have that form ready for you so that we know where you're coming from. We know how you've heard about us, which is awesome. And we can talk to you knowing that a little bit of background about you even more so.
Yeah, and I'll have that linked in the description for you guys to click on, go to, because it's a free consultation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We just want to get to know you. And the reason we do it that way is because like an application form is great, but we want to hear it directly from you. We want to hear your story. And I can't even, some of my consultation calls have literally left me with my jaw on the floor. Like you hear people's stories straight up and you're like, holy moly. And every time I talk to someone with a great story, I just get really excited to work with them and to like be able to be a part of their journey and witness what comes next for them. It's such a privilege. What we do is such a privilege. So our goal would just be really to hear where you're at first and foremost, and then, you know, build our system. We have our systems, but bring them to you in the way that makes the most sense for you as a result. And in case it's not clear, when we talk about truth body systems, there's really like 3 things that go into it, right? There is the training. So like custom workouts, custom movement plans, like all of that exercise. There's the nutrition, and then there's the accountability built into that. So that's really the 3 pillars that work together to help you achieve your sustainable fitness transformation goals, because you need all 3. You need all 3 in tandem.
Yeah. You need the communication, that accountability. How often do you guys check on your clients?
So most of our clients check in every single week. And we kind of keep it conversational. So we have kind of a list of things we want to hear from them in a very short video diary. They would upload that and for us to watch. And then the following day, we would send over a pretty comprehensive screen share review of everything. And that's where we're making adjustments, answer the questions. We do everything from deep dive into nutrition all the way to reviewing form video. So we do a lot of technique analysis. So somebody might be like, oh, online coaching, how do you know if I'm doing this properly? Well, we'll review the videos. And the cool thing about the asynchronous is that you can watch us watching you do it and critiquing it. And then if you're like, I wonder what Coach Courtney said about my squats. Well, yeah, let me just go watch the video again. It's right there, right? And
that is so cool.
The cool thing about our app as well is there's tutorial videos for every single exercise. So there's no guesswork. It's like everything's there. You know exactly what you need to do. You communicate. We adjust along the way. You fire away your questions. And that way, you know, every box that you need to check to be successful in your body transformation and fitness journey, it's checked. Essentially, that's the goal of Truth Body Systems, to check all the boxes.
I love it.
And to show you which boxes actually matter. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. There's so much BS.
The more time I spend on social media, the more flustered I get with, like, how the heck are we supposed to know what actually matters today, right? Like, I've seen all those reels that are they're hilarious, but someone will go like, trying to eat in 2025, and it's like, you can't have fruit because there's sugar, you can't have this because there's that, you can't have, and then they're left with like an ice cube on a plate, right? People are confused, but rightfully so. If you're feeling confused, yeah, you should feel confused because the information's out there. It's like preposterous. So our job is to like help you check the boxes, but also streamline the boxes. Like, here's what matters. Let's focus on those things, and then we'll figure out how we can check them off together.
Well, it's interesting because like you hear all the time, like, you should just know what to eat. And it's like, okay.
No.
We're not dummies. We get it. We have to eat 3 times a day, right? Like, we understand we need to eat, but we need to know what's important to eat. Because I don't know about when you guys, when you're in high school or college, there wasn't a lot, well, really high school, there wasn't a lot of like, oh, this is how you should eat in a day.
Right. No.
This, you know, even the pyramid was wrong. Like,
oh my God.
The food pyramid, like, it's not even, I think it's a pie now. Like, I don't even know. Like, it has changed so much because, like, yes, we evolve, we grow, but there's just so much nonsense out there. I see it all the time where, like the ice cube is left. And it's like, what, doesn't even have really nutrition in it. That's just water at this point. Like,
I mean, you might be hydrated, but that's about it. You need more than that, right?
Barely
hydrated. Barely hydrated, an ice cube,
Give that to your plant. Eat that. Your plant needs 1 ice cube a week is what I've been told for the indoor houses. So it's so funny though, because like, I'm trying to teach that too, where it's like, no, like, go towards the protein, go towards something that's whole food. Like,
right.
Cause I've learned after 10 years, like, guys, the VSG, your small tummy is still kind of small, but it's completely different than when you first started, right? So you have to learn those habits. You have to know what to actually fuel your body, because I've learned if you put crap in it, then you're brain fogged. Like, you don't get shit done that day, or maybe even the next day. Like, it's a whole thing. When you have junk food, like, it's interesting now, if I have junk food, and I mean like ice cream, candies, like, in a day, I feel that for 2 days. And people are like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I feel foggy. I feel tired more. And then I just feel a little more fluffy. Like, you know, I feel the inflammation, because that's really what it is. And so I'm like, okay, I need to not do those things. And then when you don't, then you feel good again. You're like, son of a bitch, it works. You're like,
I think it's so individual dependent too, right? Like, some people, like, you've built the self-awareness, Mel, of like how you feel when you eat certain foods, but it's going to look different for everybody else, right? And so I think part of our goal is to help people actually just spend the time reflecting. And to be honest, I think that's one of the biggest values of coaching is like you're accountable to actually thinking about things because you have to then express it back to somebody. And I had a client send me this incredible document where she completely reflected on her week in terms of what went wrong, what she's going to do next, what it cost her this week. And she was so ahead of the game. And I was like, you almost didn't even need me for this, right? Like, it's just the fact that you are accountable to someone else lets you spend the time reflecting and actually thinking about, how do I feel right now?
Yes.
And coming, like, hopefully everybody listening to this can eventually get to a place like you are at, Mel, where you're like, I know what makes me feel good, right? And then I'll make the decisions aligned with that.
It takes time, people. It takes time. You actually, because our doctors tell us all the time, you have to listen to your body because now our food cues are different.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had food cues. What? So like, and knowing when you're full is completely different now too. So they teach you a lot in the first 2 years, listen to your body, listen to your body. Now, do people do it? I don't know. I hope that they do. I took it seriously. I did everything in that book. I was like, because the thought was, I'm going to die at 60. That was my scares, right? So I'm like, I cannot let this happen. I will fucking do whatever this book tells me to do. And I will listen to the experts. And that's one of the reasons why I like bringing on experts is because I value experts. You have done your time. You have done the research. You know what you're talking about. Why would I go to anybody else, right? Like, I listen to those surgeons, those dietitians, coaches like you guys, because when you do it, it actually works, guys. I'm literally that for you. Like, that's what I'm trying to show you is like 10 years out and I'm at the lower than I've ever been 10 years ago. So I had B.Sc. I was 308. I got down to 179 was the lowest I've ever seen in my life. It was there for like a week. And then I hovered around 182 to 180. Played that game for 3 years. Then I jumped up to 192 because I introduced Jimmy John's. That was a problem.
At least you can recognize it, though. It's part
I
of
knew
your
what
story,
it was.
right?
Yep, I knew what it was because it was the first time I started having like sandwiches on the regular because I wouldn't have that in my life. I was like, nope, we're not having bread. We're not doing that. And then I worked at Progressive, very high intense job. I was the claims adjuster. I did that for 5 years. And I was like, you didn't have breaks. Like, yes, you're mandatory to take your break, but that was it. And then like, I'm having everybody I noticed, they're like, oh, Jimmy John's is here. They're like, Mel, do you want one? And I'm like, I'm really hungry. And so I did. And I gained that 10 pounds to 192. But because I had a standing desk and I wanted to be like the one that stood the longest, like you can get me if it's a competition. So I was surrounded by dudes and I was like, I got this. And they're like, no, I got it. And then they were the ones that fucking sat around like hour 3 and 4. And even after that, I stayed all the way to 8 hours. And they're like, you could have just sat like after we did. And I was like, nope, proving a point that I can do it. That was more for me, not you. And that was the deal. Is I was able to hang out at 192 now for another few years. But guys, today, like I did regain 50. I will put that out there. I got to 242. And I am proud to say today I am 175. So I have lost all the regain and I'm lower than the lowest I've ever been. And that's only because I changed my focus. I got a coach. I asked for help. That was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
And I want people to think about that. You can ask for help at any time. And these people, we will have Parris and Courtney and Steve meet you where you're at. They're not trying to give you this simple plan. This is what you do now. And they're not doing a blanket one for everyone, right? It's going to be tailored to you. And I think that's why they're so successful is because they're tailoring it to the person. Because what I eat in a day in my lifestyle is going to be completely different than someone that works at UPS, that's someone that works at a grocery store, right? Like we have different lifestyles. And the reason why I believe you guys are successful is because you're tailoring it to us. So I want people to know that. And I want you guys to go to them, find them, ask for the help. You don't even have to tell me about it. Just click the link and just do your thing, right? Because some people like to do it in privacy. They don't want anyone knowing, right?
We keep everything confidential anyway. So
there you go. Right? They're not going to post you all over the place. And I love it if you're going to do it. Just I highly recommend you guys invest in yourselves. And these two people, this is what they love to do. That's who you wanted to be with. Someone that loves to do this for you, right? So is there anything that you think that I may have missed that you guys would like to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Just, yeah, super grateful to be on here. And again, I love the community you built and continue to build. And we just, this is our 24/7 thing. We just live and breathe this stuff like all day long. And as Courtney said, we have the best job in the world. Like, we are so privileged to be in a position where we can help people along this really transformative journey. I mean, we're drink our own Kool-Aid, but we've been through our own journey. So we know how transformative we are, or we know how transformative it is when you start from where you're starting and then get to where you can go and see that potential. It's like, wow,
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
I just want to say thank you, Mel. I think like you summed it up the best we could ever hope for, which is just, seeing the value in having someone in your corner, someone that will meet you where you are, and someone who's ready to take you to that next level. Like, I always tell my clients, like, I will meet you where you are, but I might be one step ahead because I want to take you to that next step, but it's incremental. Right? I'm not expecting you to like jump across the ocean to meet me where I am. I'm going to meet you where you are, and then we're going to go together. And I think it's just like cool. the enthusiasm that I think Parris and I think we have for this process. Like, we just want to share that with everybody. So.
Well, it's contagious. So keep doing what you're doing, guys. You're going to see more me with them. We're going to collab and do things together because this is just such a great fit. I believe for the audience, I think you guys are great people, and I just can't wait to learn more from you guys. So thank you for coming on, sharing your experience with us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. We'll let's do a round 2 next year.
That sounds great.
Right?
Yeah. That sounds great. And to everyone listening who made it to the end of this episode, thank you for tuning in. Like, we know Mel's built such an amazing community of people, and we're grateful to have spent like an hour with you today. And, hopefully you take something out of this episode just as much as you take from Mel's journey and her sharing everything with you guys too.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Courtney and Parris. And until next time, guys, remember, take your vitamins. I got my ProCare ones right here, OSLP, and make sure you get your water, your protein, get that sleep. And then lastly, don't be an asshole to one another. Have a good week. Bye.
Great advice. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Our Slave Life podcast. Don't forget to head over to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and follow me on all the socials so you stay connected. And remember, until next time, keep shining bright.